Mr. Janak Kamal Godu and Mr. Rajiv Singh, you had the courage to organize very timely a summit here in Sri Lanka. I do remember this was 1987. The world community gathers together for an international conference which was known as Global Summit for Environmental and Development. The outcome of the summit was published as a book which was known as the Common Future, which became famous as Our Common Future, where for the first time the concept of sustainable development was introduced. The core of the sustainable development is to ensure inter and intra-generation equity. What we consume today should not compromise the consumption of the generation to come. That is where it is possible for us to ensure the inter and intra-generation equity. As we have representatives from different backgrounds, can I ask, during your lifetime, have you been able to assure inter and intra-generation equity within your own household? Don't look for the national or an international scale. This may be the reason why in 2000, or rather millennium, the United Nations introduced Millennium Development Goals. There were 15 Millennium Development Goals to be achieved in 2015. And at the end, we have realized after a decade and a half, what we recognize as Millennium Development Goals, we were not being able to achieve. And what happened in 2015? We introduced another set of the global scale achievement to be achieved by the globe called Sustainable Development Goal. The number 4, as the Honorable Minister explained, is to provide a quality education. In my humble opinion, being an educationist, worked at different levels of education institution, looking at both of quality and the delivery of the education, not only Sri Lanka, but also India and other countries in our own region, we were not being able to achieve neither Millennium Development Goal or the Sustainable Development Goal, which are currently we are looking at in a very positive manner in which that we may be able to achieve. Now the question, why education for sustainable development? Aren't we educated enough to take the challenge of achieving sustainable development? Now if you take Sri Lanka for example, our literacy rate is almost 97%. Or the generation of our grandparents may not have had an opportunity to go to school, or the generation of us and the generation above and the generation below had the fortune of free education as a result. We being such a small nation, we are literate. What does it mean? We could read and write. But do we understand the real sense of education? Now take another simple example from a so-called developed world, starting from United States of America, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia. Literary rate may be a little higher than us. It means that they are better prepared for achieving sustainable development. Am I asking you? The global destruction has been made for the developed. If you go to Sweden, one of the developed nations in the Scandinavian region, 25% of inland water bodies are acidified. I've been to India many times, many parts of India. Do you think that you have been able to manage at least surrounding environment of your own household in a sustainable manner? We are living in a society, we promote a mass consumption. If you sit in front of a television, you are forced to eat, you are forced to use. We are forcing to move on a mass consumption. We are living in a mass consumption era. We will continue to be part of it. Therefore, the core of the sustainable development we have been violating from day one, consciously, maybe unconsciously. Now, many of you delegates are occupied in a 5-star facilities in Colombo. Have you been able to utilize the facilities given by the hotel in a sustainable manner? How many towels that you have been using? I'm just asking you. Education for sustainable development shouldn't be on the sky. It should begin from our own, isn't it? Therefore, what we are lacking is not the education. What we are lacking is the quality of it. We have lost the purpose of it. We started the free education in 1947 to provide from primary education to university for free for every single individual, and it is compulsory. The education for all is not a bad concept at all, and making it compulsory, it's a good thing. There is no argument. But what is wrong is that we have not been able to provide the appropriate education. We were forced to learn. I do remember how it would have been in our generation. Even to a large extent, many of us want our kids to be professionals, doctors, engineers, to be affluent individual in the society. Their creativity, innovation is gone. Why there are no Albert Einstein? At least the mother of Albert Einstein realized, my son is not for conventional education. He's for innovation, creativity. You see, we were not being able to provide the quality education in an appropriate manner, taking individual desires, individual capabilities, and their own attitudes towards education. Do a musician needs maths? Do a dancer needs science? We made a fundamental mistake in our education system. Of my 20 years of teaching in higher education institution, 8 years of academic administration, I have realized many times that we are criminals. We have not been able to provide the quality education. That is why we have not been able to adhere the core of sustainable development, that is to ensure inter and intra-generation equity. I hope this summit will explore the ways and the means of education for sustainable development. Thank you very much for inviting me.